Hi people, welcome back to the True Colors podcast. If you're a new viewer, thank you for coming in. If you are a repeated viewer, I love you. And if nobody's told you today, I love you. Yeah, let's talk about trauma. Let's talk about all that fun stuff. Because when you don't heal from trauma, when you don't give yourself time to recoup, when you don't go to therapy or talk to somebody about what you've been through and try to understand and rewire your mind, that stuff will haunt you. And it will show up later in life, no matter how long it has been. When you spend time trying to distract yourself, drinking it away, hanging out with friends, or getting in another relationship very fast, you will fall into the cracks and it will come and linger in your life, and you might not even realize it in some ways. In some ways, you will realize it, but you won't understand that it's the trauma coming back. So, I have a lot of trauma that I have worked through, a lot of things that I have been through that kind of shaped me into the person I am today. I am so strong of a person because of all the things I went through, and I used to be such a people pleaser, such a person that gives everything to everybody but forgets about myself, or I would stoop down to certain levels just to be with certain people, and I am no longer like that. And even if you've been through trauma and you've been through things, you are handed all these tools in life and you have learned so much from the things you have been through. Let me tell you that. And at the end of the day, do not let trauma break you down. Do not feel like, oh, woe is me, like I'm a victim. Of course you're a victim, but do not let yourself feel like you are less of a person because you've been through certain things, because you are given certain tools while you were in this mode of being through trauma that allowed you to become a better person in the end. And you have learned many things from going through certain things as well. I try to look at the positive side of everything. Of course, there are downsides of things as well. Of course, I have to fight with my brain sometimes. Like the other day, I have a lot of issues, not really with abandonment, but with feeling like I'm going to be left in certain places, because I was constantly left in places when I was on vacation or in a different country, and felt very scared for my life and scared that I would never be able to make it home and stuff like that. I would be in certain areas, in places that were very unsafe for my well-being, and I was purposely left places. So that caused a lot of trauma with me feeling like I'm going to get not really abandoned, but left in certain places and having to fend for myself, or just having to hold my ground within where I'm at. For example, I was on vacation this one time in a very bad area in San Francisco. And if you guys know San Francisco, you know there's a lot of criminals and crazy homeless people and a lot of crime and crazy things going on. But I was left in the middle of San Francisco at like 3 a.m, and I was stuck outside with all my luggage, not knowing what I had to do, what I could do. And I felt very hopeless and very scared for my well-being. So I've been through a lot of things like that. That's just one of them. But the other day, my mom was leaving me literally a couple blocks away from her house, and she was just going to drop my sister off, but I felt that trauma come back up, and I didn't realize till about 10 minutes later, but I had a panic attack and I was freaking out, and I was like really scared and nervous. And you know, if you don't make this aware to people that you've been through certain things and this can be a trigger for you, then they will never know. And I want to say to always make people aware of certain things that are triggers for you, so they can make you more comfortable and realize why you are reacting the way you are. But also give yourself time to process your thoughts, and give yourself time to process what you've been through, and realize you have been through these things, and it's okay that you are reacting. There was also other times where I have reacted very badly. That wasn't a bad reaction for me. I just kind of freaked out to myself and started crying and having a panic attack. But there had been times in the past where I did get into an argument with one of my best friends after I had been through traumatic things with one of my exes, and it just like one thing led to another, and it didn't get violent or anything, but I did throw a cooler against his door. And after that, I was like, what is wrong with me? So listen, when you go through certain things, you or if you are with somebody for long enough to let them turn you into somebody that you are not, you will soon adopt these behaviors and adopt these bad things from people. And I want to say, don't stick around somebody long enough, or at least try not to stick around somebody long enough to adopt their behaviors, because I used to be such a sweet person, such a kind person, such a caring person. I've come back to that now, but I realized after being with somebody that kind of tore me down as a human and made me very angry and mean, that I had to kind of rewire my brain into going back to my normal self. And when you're with somebody long enough to adopt their behaviors that you realize that you don't enjoy or you don't like about them, you will soon adopt them too, and you'll kind of turn into a person you never expected you would be. And that's really hard for somebody, especially for my people pleasers and my people that are just kind-hearted. Do not let people take that to their advantage, because there are narcissists, there are people in this world that feed off of nice, kind people who like to please. And after putting my guard up and realizing this, I really pissed some people off, especially the narcissists and people that couldn't feed off me anymore. And once you really level up and you realize that you can hold your ground and you can be exactly who you want to be, but not fall for people's tricks and how they want to treat you and make you into somebody that you're not, you're going to be golden in life. You are going to be so great. And basically what I'm trying to say is hold your standards up and do not allow people to change who you are as a person. And when you realize that people aren't on your level of thinking, or you don't really enjoy the presence of people or their energy, step out of it and realize like what you really want in life. And my biggest thing is like journaling and writing down exactly what you want and what your standards are, and then stick to that. And if somebody doesn't really meet them, don't stick around them long enough to make them change you or to let their behaviors kind of fall onto you, because that is such a hard thing to unlearn and something to unprocess, and it's really, really difficult. I am going to deal with a lot of trauma for the rest, maybe not really the rest of my life, but for years to come, and that's okay. And that's okay, because I've learned how to be a strong person, and I am so strong now. It's kind of crazy to me how far I have come. And when you jump from relationship to relationship, you won't ever really like unlearn traumas, or it will be masked by the person you're with because you are distracted by being with somebody else. Even if you haven't been through trauma, take your time to process after a relationship, because nothing is worse than jumping into another relationship and then still mourning the past person, but you are so distracted by your new person that you don't even realize. And people who jump from relationship to relationship, there's definitely something like really wrong there. People heal in their own ways, but you need to be able to heal on your own from certain things. And you're never really over somebody when you do jump from relationship to relationship. It's always going to come back. And that's what's really hard about that as well, because for a long time I did jump from maybe relationship to being distracted by a friendship or another, like talking stages and stuff like that, and I never really took the time to process exactly what I've been through. And now that I have, I feel so much better, because it's been really hard. It's been really hard to understand that I do have trauma and that I do struggle with certain things, and I have been mentally and physically abused in the past. And after the first time somebody hits you, they're gonna do it again. So understand that and act accordingly. Leave the first time instead of waiting around and seeing if somebody's going to change, because they never will. When it comes to abuse, people do not change. And even if you think that they do, and you are told some other thing, or somebody tells you that, oh, I've changed, like stuff like that, like no, go find somebody else that's going to love you, that's going to treat you with kindness, that's going to be there for you. And once you are mentally and physically abused, it's like it's really sad, but you crave that. And when you're out of it, you kind of look for other people that treat you the same way, because you go to what's familiar. Your brain just goes to what's familiar. once you receive good love, you're gonna feel undeserving of it. You're gonna be like, I don't want this. You're gonna push it away. And that's why you really need to take your time to be alone and figure out exactly what you want, because you do not want somebody that's mean to you. You don't want somebody that's gonna hit you. You don't want somebody that's gonna mentally abuse you and call you names and tell you that you're not a good person, because you're gonna literally break down into nothing. And you're gonna keep looking for the same person in everybody else that you go along with. And that's why I just think that we need to take times to ourselves and really like realize what you need in this life, because what you need is care and love and passion. And I won't stop until I meet the exact person that I want in life. I am just such a big, I say this a lot, but I'm a big business person. I am big on passion and love and being treated with kindness. And I need somebody who's the same. I need somebody that we can bounce off of with our business ideas. Do live in like a kind of like little wonderland, but I'm also very serious about everything I do in life. When I talk about it, I'm already 10 steps ahead and I've already done the thing. When I'm coming up with ideas, I'm literally 10 steps ahead of everybody. And I am so sick. I was so sick of surrounding myself with people that were constantly talking about things and never doing anything. And that was just so annoying. Or people who pretended to be like this type of person, that they're into business or into like leveling up in life, but they actually weren't, and they were actually all talk. Because I grew up with somebody like that and I absolutely hated it, because I would always hope for these certain things in life and then they would never come true. So now I'm doing everything in my power to make my dreams come true and make everything I want reality. Like when I started this podcast, I remember being on Snapchat. I post like lots of stuff on Snapchat, and I was just talking. I was like, oh, I want to start a podcast, and it's going to be called True Colors, and I'm just going to talk about everything and everything that I've been through, kind of like whatever. And then literally like 2 days after that, I started my podcast. I am done with the talking, done with the bull, and I'm done with like just, this went a totally different direction, but I am really seeking a higher standard in my life now, and I just want to surround myself with people who also feel that way. And I wish the same for you guys. I wish that you can reach all the potentials that you can and never go back to people that have treated you wrong, or go back to patterns that haven't served you in the past. And I think I'll leave it at that. I love you guys so much. You deserve everything. You deserve all the love that you put out into the world. Give it to yourself, and then you won't ever settle for less. I love you. Thanks for coming to the True Colors podcast.